during a job interview. Find some things to say, 20 things to not say when you're having a job interview, right? Some of these things I think are just repetitive and sometimes maybe redundant. But there is no better person, right, to express and explain what they went through than the people who lived through that experience, right? Yes, some of these things are, across the board, they will work for you wherever you go to. For example, you should be polite when you get to a job interview. Don't be arrogant, all right? You should also, not, be loud at a job interview, particularly if it's like a white collar job, you're coming to work in an office, you don't need to be shouting anywhere, and carry yourself with some level of decorum, right? Yeah. And things like that. Yes. But there are other things that you shouldn't do. You see, I got to see a story. I cannot validate it, but I know that a very similar thing happened here in Port Harcourt. Now, the story that is making the rounds on social media is of a HR specialist, right? A recruiter who sent 3 females to meet a possible employer and say, oh, look, these are the people who have found. You interview them and then choose the one that you want to work for your company. Now, the person, as the story goes, said, look, I'm being delayed. I'm sorry for your time. Please, whilst you are here, why don't you have breakfast? They said breakfast, right? And I'll get to you when I'm able to. So these 3 ladies apparently had breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They didn't only breakfast. Yes, because what the story depicted was a tsunami of food. These 3 combined racked up a bill of over 100,000 naira for breakfast. Over 100,000 naira for breakfast. Somebody ordered pepper soup. Another person decided to order chicken wings. Somebody even ordered an alcoholic beverage at 9 o'clock in the morning. Who does that? But once you may say, that story, that Fabu story, let me tell you the one that happened here in Port Harcourt over 16 years ago. Because about 2 days ago, I got to speak with a recruiter from one of the, a former recruiter. She's retired now, for the IOCs back in the late 90s, and early 2005. Sorry, late 80s up until the early 2000s. She's retired now. And when I shared the story, she laughed. She said, this is small. We've seen worse. And so she said that when they had narrowed down about 150 individuals for a particular company, right, that time, those years, right, they had done their test and everything and said, okay, you know what, we have picked out about 45 of the very best people who meet the criteria for this, your company. We're bringing them over to you to have your final say on the last 10 or 12 that you want to pick. All well and good. So these 45 people were in the reception or like a conference room. They were giving tea, just basically taking care. You were meant to be there by 10 days. A lot of them got there early. And then after the tea, they were interviewed. They were spoken to, asked what their salaries would be, blah, 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 things like that. And then they were told to wait in the mess, like what they call them, cafeteria area, okay? And then they were told to please make your order, get something to eat, all right, so that you can refresh yourself whilst we make our decision. Thank you for coming, and blah 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 blah. Okay. Now, she said during this period when these young men, prospective IOC, some of them are listening right now, they will laugh. Some people asked for takeaway packs to go home. Somebody ordered rice, chicken, salad, meat, and all the, but you know how some of these IOCs, they can really, feed you like you're starving or something. This person ordered virtually everything. He ate, asked for takeaway, but obviously was not paying. And they're like, okay, all right, fair, good enough for you, all right. Some people did not eat. Once all of this was going on, some people started to order for alcoholic beverages. This is like what? 12:30, 1:30 in the afternoon. You came for an interview. You started to drink beer. And you know what happens when people are intoxicated, right? They start to, gist amongst themselves. They start to become, a bit, rambunctious. They were loud. And all the while, the managers were watching. They just they couldn't believe what they were seeing. Come and eat. Because you have kept you here for 3 or 4 hours, some people decide to turn the whole place to Owambe. Needless to say, some people did not get that job. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this morning, once again, this question is simple. You're working right now, or you're an employer of labor. What were the mistakes you made, either in employing somebody or being employed?
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
With Jude on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
017-923-0002, 0817923-0003, 0817923-0002, 0817923-0003. At Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH. The WhatsApp and Telegram number is available on 0809 030 6416. 0809 030 6416. 0809 030 6416. As always, please do well turn down the volume of your radio set when you call in. All right, straight off the bat here this morning is IJ. IJ says, Drew, good morning. See those stories, some of those things happen very regularly. And those girls on social media, I saw their story. Those are hungry looking girls. Nobody should employ them. Very embarrassing story. Who orders for Nkwobi? Oh, that's true. They ordered for Nkwobi. I forgot to mention that. They ordered for Nkwobi for breakfast. Ha! No, now. No. Sometimes we have to remember our home training. Sometimes. Good morning, Jude. Great here says my mistake in an interview was not being able to name a price. When I did, I put a mistake on that. Okay. When I did, I put a mistake and I was underpaid due to my pick. For a job of 200,000 naira, I took 50,000 naira. My inexperience, and I was really good at the job. But I later learned and will always know my worth. Great with that message. Yes. This is very important. When you go for an interview, right, know your worth. But here's the thing, right? There are some people who come to interviews and they overestimate their worth. I think some people I've heard of people come to an interview and say, oh, how much do you want to be paid? 1 million. As an entry staff, you don't have like 5 years working experience. What exactly are you going to reinvent the wheel? Why exactly? Look, let me say this, all right? I know some people who are willing to pay you 1 million naira for a month. Some of them pay as much as 5 million naira a month. But it just depends on what you are bringing to the table. What services are you offering or rendering? It's not because they called you for an interview that you just be automatically paid 1 million naira a month. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. All right, this one says, Jude, good morning. The mistake I made for my interview was going to the interview late. I will never forget that day. I got there nearly 40 minutes late, no thanks to traffic. Unfortunately, I was turned away, and it was a very good place to work in. All right, and that is from Caleb. Caleb, you seem to have a lot of stories. All right, thank you very much. We'll go on this break. When we return, we'll continue with our conversations on interviews.
You are tuned in to
Nigeria Info. We'll be right
they've been responded to. You've gone through the first phase of the interview process. You had a telephone conversation. These days, they even have video chats with you. And then you are invited to be in the office in person so that they can assess and give you one final run through to determine if you are the right fit for this or that particular establishment. Now, what things did you do right or wrong? Now, it's easy to say, oh, you wore a good shirt, you were neat, you were polite, you got there early, you responded directly yes or no to the answers, or to the questions that were proposed to you. But a lot of people don't admit when they've done something wrong. The story that's been making the rounds and making people talk for the past 40 hours. And yes, they were all females. Somebody just pointed it out to me. I don't want to make it about females because it can happen to anybody could have done that. But yes, in this particular case, it was a contingent of females, right? 3 females sent, and the 3 of them decided to go gung-ho at this particular restaurant. Now, the pictures here, right? You don't, like I said, I'm not going to tell you, all right, this is 100% kosher, right? But it is very plausible because similar scenarios have happened here in Port Harcourt. And I told you a story, about some men who were being interviewed for a job in Port Harcourt years and years and years ago, and then decided to drink at the interview, and they became loud, and obviously most of those people did not get those jobs. So let me read out for you some of the items, right, on that list in case you haven't seen it. All right, so the 3 of them, somebody ordered a glass of pineapple drink, 1,005. You can say, okay, that's fine, it's breakfast. Bottled water, that makes sense. All right, 4 of them ordered. Or 3 of them ordered. No problem. Spaghetti bolognese. What you don't eat in your house, you decide to order. Okay, no problem. Chicken burger. Maybe for breakfast, I could say, all right, a burger. But I know that in most hotels, when you order for burgers, they usually put a side of fries to it. So you have the burger and then it's a plate of fries and ketchup or whatnot. Okay. That alone was 14,000 naira. Then somebody now ordered French fries. Somebody now ordered barbecue chicken wings with jollof rice. Somebody ordered fried plantain and sauce. Somebody ordered spicy chicken with French fries. Somebody now ordered nkwobi. How does nkwobi sound like a meal for breakfast, please? How? I'm not saying you can't have nkwobi for breakfast. People have eba for breakfast. But how do you go out in the morning? They tell you, please, sorry, order something for breakfast. Of all the things you saw in the menu, nkwobi was what you saw. You could have just ordered for isiewu at once. Just do it big. Do isiewu.
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
With Jude on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
017-923-0002, 0817923-0003. Once again, 0817923-0002, 0817923-0003. At Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH. Where you find us on Facebook and on X. What are the do's and don'ts when you are getting to interviews? My question this morning: what mistakes have you made during during your interview, your past interview? That's if you have a job already. 08179230002. 08179230003. WhatsApp is 0809-030-6416. 0809-030-6416. All right, good morning to you, Jude. What you just narrated, those people have character problems, they have etiquette problems, and they are ostentatious in their nature. For that reason, it has caused the bridge in their lives. Wow, for not achieving their aims. That should be a lesson to them. Ipalebo Taylor Harry. Really? Wow. So there's a bridge that's been broken in their lives. 92.3, good morning. Hello, Port Harcourt.
Mr. Zion, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, please.
Jude, don't blame those people now. Hunger. Make them feel break like that. It's hunger.
To honor Unkwabi at 10 o'clock in the morning.
You see this poverty mentality we are talking about? It's not an insult, though. It's the first disease a man cannot cure in his life. Then that is the worst. We have had this kind of a process to screen candidates like this, recruits like this. The recruit started by 11. 11:30 is breakfast. 12:30 is lunch. 1:30 is dinner. Started. Guess what? It's like a buffet. Open meal. Bread, tea, rice, the bars, everything on the table. Even we that came to observe, we have no longer throat. Oh boy, see food where we want to eat. It was a test. Breakfast. The ones who went for a bath. That early morning, I'm talking about 11:30. It's just a test, too.
But is there anything wrong with Eba? Eba is normal food now. Some Equatorial people, some I get a bit of people who must eat gari before we leave the house.
But I don't feel low. Breakfast, all you are intended or you should take is tea and bread, coffee or biscuit. That is breakfast for you. You have a meal coming by lunch hour, which is 11 to 12 on a normal working.
Do they know that they have a meal coming up at that time?
It is stated already, my brother. It is stated already. That was a trap. It was stated. We need to, and that's why I blame the university to a large extent. I will not put point on the primary, secondary. These are primary knowledge you have. But the university, you just graduated them. You did not give them etiquette to life. And you say you have graduated them in character and in whatever they put it.
Learning.
Very unfortunate comments I normally hear when they say you graduated them or what. Very, very unfortunate comments. The ones just contrary, you just graduated with character in learning. No character in them. They learn nothing. And you give them such a... That is a lie. You just lied to them. You lied to them. You say you graduated them. They learned nothing. Did you tell them how the market environment is like? Do you even expose them? Do you know that now HR as human resource departments, some have gone hyper, some even send their own staff to another company, go and observe what the HR is doing. So that when we want to recruit people, we know how we recruit them. We know how we sustain our corporation. Corporations are going global. We want to have office in Bayelsa. Who do we send there? We need the best out there. From Bayelsa, we want to go to Gabon. And you are still going to swallow gari in the morning. You come on those off here, give excuse that you are weak and you are tired. When you are looking for smart brains, the before 6 hours is our timing for productivity. See, 6 hours. The 6 hours in serious companies, nobody jokes there. Nobody watch movies there. Even me that we call you within this period is because of I've been given a concession. My brother, our young people need to grow their mind. Watch movies, listen to discourse, read books that related to your course and profession so you can excel and not gossip.
Okay.
Let me stop here, Mr.
All right, thank you very much. It's time. Way to go and carry it back. Oh, my days. All right, Drew, good morning. One of the mistakes a lot of people tend to make for interviews is that they tend to overdress. And they are so uncomfortable during interviews, it actually destabilizes them when they are faced with their employers or prospective employers. My advice is dress comfortably, but dress decently. Don't make the same mistake people have been making for years. You knot your ties and you get to the venue and you are very uncomfortable. Dress decently and dress comfortably. All right, that makes sense to me. All right, I like this. Dress comfortably, dress decently for an interview. Ajima 3, good morning. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Ugo from Port Harcourt.
Good morning, Ugo.
Yeah. The story is very funny. I'm having this hard back, please. So what I'm trying to say in the sense that what if those what do you call them?
The prospective employees rather.
The prospective,
job seekers.
Yeah. What if they all had in mind that?
Ugo, please call us back. All right, call us back. All right, now personally, it's a lengthy one. The mistake that stands out for me was one I actually made up to a year before some interview. A bit of background: I work in the media space, and a while ago, I met a photographer who arranged what I now know is a branding photo shoot. Now, I didn't ask questions. I just knew I needed new pictures, and the lady was such a big deal. She had worked in Paris and London, and I felt beholden, like she was doing me a favor by even noticing my existence or talking to me. Now, when we met for the shoot, she dressed me in a way that wasn't me. So the makeup was too heavy and the hairstyle was such that they actually added 15 years to my face. On my own, I'd never wear that quantity of makeup or style of jewelry. I was uncomfortable, but I was afraid, so I kept quiet. I didn't want to annoy her or seem ungrateful for her to spend or spread the word that I was difficult to work with. Plus, you hear stories of models and women in media getting touched inappropriately or financially taken advantage of on shoots, and that didn't happen to me. So I told myself, what do you have to complain about? Be grateful and be humble. I didn't know I was doing myself because those pictures went into my portfolio, and each time I booked a meeting on the strength of my portfolio, people looked surprised when I showed up. In real life, I look at least 6 years younger than my calendar age. So imagine thinking you are meeting up a woman in her mid-40s, but a girl who looks 20-something is in your reception. In fairness to that photographer, knowing what I know about branding, I think she wanted my already vast experience to match my photos. But my decision not to ask questions or understand what branding shoots was about or speak up cost me a lot of jobs, and I didn't even tweak until it happened many times. Yes, so ask questions. You're going for an interview, ask questions. Where am I coming to? Who am I going to speak to? Where is the place going to carry me to? Will they give me transport? Will I be giving thanks for coming? These are the kind of questions you should ask. Although that latter part, I think is a bit unnecessary. Ugo is back on the line. Ugo, good morning to you. Hi, Ugo.
Yes. Ugo, good morning.
Yes. Yes, go on.
Okay. I called initially, though.
Yes.
It was, my time. So what I'm trying to say is that what if either of them had in mind that none of them will have the job. Is that instead of them to lose on both ends, they got to chop,
So,
they'll pack it as no, you understand what I'm trying to say. So nobody wants to lose. So you understand?
So because they didn't know if they're going to get the job, they decided to buy the entire restaurant, made them wreck the owner.
So that is it.
No. It's still bad. It's still bad form. It's still bad form. All right. Still very, very bad form. So we've heard: get dressed early, dress comfortably, attend your interview. Now Denise is here. I'm very sure Denise has had one or two interviews before we get to do our one play draw. Denise, that small story where those girls were ordering
you beat me to it. So I was going to have that conversation tomorrow. Really?
No, it was yesterday itself. Because of that's why I didn't have it yesterday.
I kept it for Friday. Even
don't worry, there are so many angles to take.
I
did not want to make it about girls, but somebody was telling me
my gender.
First is first. Do you think they overdid it?
Yes, they did actually. They did. It's breakfast. Something light. You not see meat pie and tea.
You have a point.
You not see English breakfast on the average is 9K. Bacon, sausages, egg, 2 toast at most, and tea. That's fine. It's. Remember when we had that conversation about some girls dating for free food?
Oh,
how they have these restaurants in their head and they are looking for the next person that will say let's go out. Then they will suggest the restaurant and then they will go there and anything they've never tried on the menu, that's what they want to try, so that they will know that they've had
spaghetti bolognese
at so restaurant.
Yeah.
So I felt that was what it was for these girls. I'm sorry. It was more like, hey, let me see. Okay.
I never shopped this thing before.
I never shopped it.
Well,
you don't have food in your house. You took take away too.
I shared the story. This was a retired HR person here in Port Harcourt who used to employ for the IOCs, right? In her case, the candidates started to drink beer.
Oh no.
They all came, they sat down, they were ordering, come and eat, you are finished. And one or two of them noticed that this cafeteria, I don't want to mention the oil company, they had alcohol. So the boys asked for a bottle of beer. One bottle of beer turned to 3, turned to 4. And in under 40 minutes, strangers who hadn't been talking during the interview were shouting Chelsea, Arsenal. They don't feel do anything.
At what time of the day?
1:30 in the afternoon.
That's early.
Yeah. Anyway, so I hope the people who have shared this story about will not come for me. Anyway, let's do our one play draw. Please don't, when you go for interviews, be demure. Be gentle. Be calm. Don't do anyhow. Don't be anyhowness anyway, please.